Trey with Rougarou Lacrosse again. Follow-up video to the Ghost Shaft video. This thing right here, the clear shaft, Ghost Shaft by Wolf Athletics. Yesterday I got out to local high school, got on their lacrosse field, started putting shots on cage. It took about an hour and a half worth of solid shooting for it to get a little bit better feel for it, to give y'all a little bit better information. Everything I stated in my last video still stands as far as I'm concerned. A few things to add though. First and foremost, this thing is not going to be something that you're going to be able to plug and play. You are going to have to take some extra time and really learn the shaft and tune your fundamentals of shooting and your shooting form. If you don't have good shooting form, it is not a forgiving shaft. The more power you're putting behind it, the more form and more fundamental you need to be to get it to hit what you want to hit. And that's something that I really found out from shooting with it. You know, it wasn't one of those things where I could just crank into it and not have great form, but just put everything I had behind it. I missed. It flew all over the place. I could not control this thing. When I dialed it back and really focused on my fundamentals, I got good velocity out of it. I got it where I wanted it to go, and that's something that, you know, I am going to tell everyone out there. You're going to have to put the time in. You're going to have to put in the time to learn the equipment if you want it to get the most out of it. Think of it as golf. Anybody who golfs or is awful at golf like I am knows that when you use a driver, it's got a lot of flex, and the more power you put behind it, the better form you're going to have. So form wins out over power in this case, and that's same thing with this. It's form's going to win out over power. The better form you have and the more velocity you can put behind while staying in that form, the more you're going to get out of this stick. And you know what? Coaches may like that because coaches are always yelling at kids to use better shooting fundamentals. I don't know. Another thing that I'm going to tell you is you may want to find a stiffer head to put on this shaft. I don't know if it was just the heat yesterday. I mean, it was in the mid-90s with really high humidity. It was over 107 with the heat index. It was hot. It was a hot day. I was drenched head to toe. This head got extremely, extremely spongy on me, and I think that extra added flex on top of the stick made it a little less predictable and made it a little bit more difficult to control. So I'm going to recommend a stiffer head to let the shaft do the flexing, not the head. Let the shaft do its job. I put a Revo on here for a little bit today playing some wall ball. I did notice that it was a little bit more consistent, a little better. I don't know if it was the mesh that I had in it being wax mesh or if it was the head just not being as flexible, but it was equally as hot today. And, you know, I think a stiffer head is going to help you out a lot more in this case. Another thing that it's going to help you is make sure you have that whip on here. You need to have whip. I had to change my shooters on the head based on what I had before. I just had like your 3 basic shooters. I had to kind of play around with them to see what I could get the best out of. This configuration in this instance, the way I have it strung, tended to be the best mix. But I mean, look at how much whip that thing has. It's got a lot. And you need it when you shoot. So if you already have a whippy head, you can put it on here, probably be a lot better off. If you don't, you're going to have to adjust it. Plain and simple. So, you know, for shooting, it's going to take some time. Passing's still okay. You're going to get a little extra zip on your pass. Passing didn't change a whole lot. It's just when you really add that power, that flex comes into play, and you got to have that hold to get the ball there, and you need to know what you're doing. So fundamentals are going to get you the most out of this shaft, as with any shaft. But this one is, like I said, it's not forgiving at all if you don't have good fundamental shooting when you're really putting power behind it. Not that that's a bad thing. I don't foresee it as a bad thing. It's just something that you need to know if you want the most out of this shaft. Two other things that I want to add to my previous statement before, or previous video before, is going to be, since it is as flexible as it is, you can do like little wrist flicks and get a lot more velocity on the ball, which will help you more for when you really are in tight spots and you need to get the ball out of your stick. You'll be able to give it a little bit of a wrist flick and really get extra velocity, get the ball where you want it to go. You don't have to put as much behind it if you can learn to manipulate it to really use that flex to your advantage. Other thing that I'm going to realize, or not really realize, but I did realize, is from a goalie standpoint, this is going to be tough to read. This thing is going to be insanely tough to read. Because of all the flex on it, it's almost going to be like a delayed delivery because the hands are going to come through far before the head ever does. It's not going to be that regular you see it snap over, it's going to be their hands are starting to snap, and then the head is flinging behind. So it's going to be interesting looking when you're getting shot on, and that's going to be something goalies are going to have to learn. It's going to be a little deceptive at first, and it probably always actually will be deceptive because it's not a normal looking thing. It's not what we're used to. So those are the two extra things I want to add. But also with the looks of this, and I'm just sitting here thinking, this thing still does look insane to me. That it's clear. I know it doesn't have all crazy graphics and colors, but it's clear shaft. It looks like something that would be in like a sci-fi movie set in the future, 3088 or something like that, where they're playing some futuristic form of lacrosse and they're using these shafts, and they have clear shafts and the ball's flying insane amount of hour, whatever it happens to be, because they always do those crazy futuristic versions of sports. They don't think that they're going to resemble what they are now, but who knows? I mean, maybe. But, that's what it kind of reminds me of when you're playing with it, is something like that, or something out of like Tron, for you sci-fi guys out there. It does still look wild to me. It gleams in the sun, I mean, you can see the light still. It's crazy looking still. It's still crazy looking. I still can't get over that fact. I've gotten a little bit more used to the feel. That kind of, it does feel plasticky because, I mean, it's not metal. It's not what you're used to with that. So that feel is a little different. But I don't foresee this thing breaking anytime soon. I mean, really, to break this thing, I'm sure you're going to have to really bend it almost end to end. From basic hits and checks and things like that, it's probably not going to break. If it does, it's going to be down the line after probably years of abuse. It's going to take a lot to do it, just because the sheer flex absorbs a lot of that and plays back off of it. So, those are the things that I wanted to add to this. I'm still giving it a thumbs up. I just want to put that attachment to it that if you are going to get this shaft, be prepared to put the time behind it to really get what you need to get out of it, which, obviously with lacrosse, you need to be practicing. You should be out there playing wall ball to young kids. The old guys, I'm not going to say anything to you because you already know. So yeah, I'm still all on board with this shaft. If I can get some midfield in tomorrow when I go play, I'll try to do that. Chances are I won't get some in because they almost always have a goalie absent, so somebody has to step in and play extra. And I usually do just because I like getting the extra time in. But like I said, check it out. If you find someone that has one, find a buddy that has one. If you're at a tournament where these guys are at, go drop by, see what you can get your hands on. I definitely recommend getting your hands on one if you can. I'm going to actually bring this with me tomorrow and let the guys that I play with, let them get their hands on it and have some fun with it and see what they think about it. And then as soon as I can get with some of my players, when we start fall ball, get this in their hands, see what they think about it. If anything changes, I'll come back and let you know. If not, this will probably be my final video on this shaft. Won't be the last time you see it, but it'll probably be my final dedicated video to it. So until next time, keep on laxing. I'm Trey Oaks with Rougarou Lacrosse.